Hi, this is Stacia, and I played a standard game on chess.com. It was a 15-10 time control, and my opponent was Zenata Sulen, rated 1467, and I was rated 1537, and I am playing the white pieces in this game. So I wanted to share this game because it has some pretty interesting things in it. All right, so it started with d4, d5, and c4. And this is the Queen's Gambit. And yeah, my opponent played a rare line here, bishop f5. So I have come across this before, and I see it in Blitz especially. But this is called the Baltic Defense. Um, and let's see how common it is. Yeah, bishop f5 is played 1% of the time, and it's actually the fifth book move, um, coming right after the Shigoran defense. So the thing about bishop f5 though, and it's the reason it's not played at the top level, is this opening is considered maybe a little bit unsound, because you do leave this b pawn vulnerable, and this can be a problem. The other thing is the bishop isn't necessarily good on f5. White can try to play things like knight c3 and just get a quick e4. I mean, you'd have to take this pawn as well. But if white can get e4 in and win a tempo on this bishop, and let's say the bishop has to pull back here, then white has a big center and is ahead in development. So, okay. I don't play the main line, though. I played this move, queen b3. This is called the queen attack, and it's the third most popular line. And I prepared this move before. Doesn't mean I remember anything from when I did that, but I knew I wanted to play queen b3, and this is a fascinating. This is kind of why I wanted to share the game, because this leads to just some very sharp tactical chess right in the opening. I'm threatening to take on b7, and yes, it is a real threat in this opening. You're going for this. And at the same time, I'm now threatening to win this pawn as well. But I'm foregoing my development in order to do this. So as you can see, I'm not developing my king side. Okay, and yeah, surprisingly, the best move in this position, my opponent didn't play it, but the best move is actually e5. This is the only book move. So if you're going to play this as black, you will want to answer queen b3 with e5. This is the only way to play. Ignoring white's threats and just thrusting in the center. And then I'll just quickly go through this line because I find it quite fascinating. White can actually follow through on either threat. We can take on b7, but the main line is actually c takes d5. And this gets really interesting. So black takes here. Knight f3 attacks the pawn. Bishop c5 defends it. But now, knight takes d4. So we can take, due to a simple tactic, which is bishop takes d4, queen a4 check, hitting the bishop and the king. And now black plays knight c6. Weird move, right? But the idea here is that instead of winning the bishop, black wants to retain the bishop pair. And we'll take here. Notice that the queen is now defending the bishop. And then the move b5. So wow, what a strike. So this is some crazy chess to me. I've never played an opening like this, but I would really like to have some of my games be sharp like this. So here you play queen takes b5. It's nice, right? You get a pawn and you hit this bishop. But I'm just moving my queen around the board a whole lot, right? And so white defends here. This is where the book line ends. But as you can see, white is 2 pawns up, but black has the bishop pair. No, I guess we do too. But black's just extremely active, and we haven't really developed it all, so it's just going to be a crazy game. It's extremely imbalanced. All right, but anyway, let's go back. After queen b3, my opponent played the move knight c6. It's kind of funny. The computer announces that white is winning here. So knight c6 must be a blunder. I think the reason is c takes d5 comes with tempo now. So this is one of our threats, and it comes with tempo now. But also, it looks like knight's threatening the same move, knight takes d4, but that queen a4 check is going to be critical once again. So this threat isn't real, which I didn't know in the game. So I actually played knight f3. I wanted to defend the pawn. So I defended d4, and now I'm getting ready to take on b7. All right, so e6. e6 is a good move, I think, for a reason coming up here. Well, I want to comment on this knight. So I take on b7 here. What's interesting about a move like knight c6 is that it's not so good when white's going to take on b7, because I obviously just took the pawn that was defending the knight. But on the other hand, if this knight can ever get to d4 or b4, then they're threatening knight c7 check. So, yeah, I don't know. And in this position, the bishop's actually guarding b4. So black could respond with knight b4 right now. And the computer says the position's equal here. I would have to play knight a3, defending c7. But this is going to get crazy, right? Rook b8's coming. I guess I could take here, but this is very risky. So, okay, crazy chess. Let's go back to the game, though. All right, so my opponent played e6. I took on b7 here. And now my opponent made a huge blunder. Bishop takes b1. This is a very common thematic move in the Baltic Defense, so I get why they played it. But what can white play here to win the game on the spot? Yeah, and hopefully you saw queen takes c6 check. The thing about this move is it comes with tempo. Black is forced to move their king to a bad square for that matter, blocking the bishop, losing castling rights, and now we take here, and the computer announces +6. So pretty interesting. I do want to continue to show the rest of the game, though. I half thought my opponent would just resign on the spot. A lot of times people do that online, or maybe they do over the board too, but I don't usually play that well over the board, or at least not yet. Well, I have had one game end in like 8 moves. I think it was a Slav exchange, but that was like the only time ever. All right, so anyway, yeah, they played f6. So they're all jammed up. They want to put their bishop here, or I'm sorry, move their king so that their dark square bishop can get out and probably check me if they can. And yeah, now what's interesting about winning positions is that you still need to convert them. So here I should have more than enough to win, but now I have to consider what my plan is going to be to carry that out. I really feel like white probably has 2 ways to do it here. One would be to attack the king, because the king safety is compromised. The king's going to be in the middle of the board the rest of the game, and I could just go for checkmate, which would be fun, right? But I could also play to trade down and consolidate, and just develop, consolidate, and then my material advantage will grow, and it'll be a very easy endgame. So I did think that was a more prudent way to play. So that is the reasoning behind bishop f4. My threat in this case is queen takes c7 check, and then that would force a queen trade. So with the queens off the board, black will have less chance to attack me. All right, so they grabbed a pawn, and I carried out my threat. Queen takes, bishop takes. Okay, and yeah, king f7. So now they are threatening this check on b4. And I played the move a3. But there's actually this better move. Bishop a5 is far better. Well, maybe slightly better, let's say. Because this also stops the check. And if I leave my bishop here, it's undefended. And black would have the move rook c1 with tempo, which is actually what happens. So I played a3 stopping the check, but rook c1. Now bishop a5 anyway. So they got rook c1 for free. So yeah, even in a winning position, I don't think it's smart to give your opponent tempos like that. Okay, they bring their bishop out. E3 makes sense, right? I want to develop my light square bishop, but I also would love to take on c4. So this becomes my new plan. So they're developing, and now I'm sort of ganging up on this pawn. I'm going to play rook c1 if I have to, and okay. Yeah, I don't know about this move. This seems silly. I don't know why they would want to trade, because they're down material, so that's not recommended. So I take on c4, and I guess this was their idea, to double on the c file like this and create issues. But white has a very good move here that stops black's idea, and that's the move b3. And now we have a very solid construction. This c file is just closed now, and there's no b pawn or d pawn that black could use to kick this white bishop. So this white bishop is just posted very nicely on c4, and not only is it a defensive piece right now, but the bishop is also pinning this d pawn. So definitely the star of the game right now is this bishop on c4. I castled. Computer actually says king e2 is better, and I agree. I think I was feeling in danger, but this is the end game, and in the end game, we want to bring our king to the center of the board. So maybe king e2 even here would be good, guarding these squares along the c file. All right, but I castled, and now black decided to start pawn storming me. I can't think of a better plan for black, so even though it didn't feel too threatening. Yeah, and I played e4. Not the most accurate, but I've got a strong center. And really, I can take my time. All right, h4. Rook c1. And now my idea is to also double on the c file. The thing is, my bishop is actually pinned right now, because if I were to move my bishop, I would lose a rook. Well, and maybe get mated. No, my knight can still come in and stop it, but still. All right. Yeah, and this move knight c6 does allow the move d5. And the problem with this is, okay, I don't think black can really move away, because then I can just take with check, and this pawn's pretty annoying. No, I guess black could play knight e5. This is what was played in the game. Now the computer likes f4. Pretty interesting. I played the move. No, I did not play that. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. They didn't play knight e5. That was something the computer wanted that I was looking at. But they played e takes d5. Now, the thing about this is I could take with check right away. Seems tempting, right? But taking with the pawn is actually stronger, because not only am I threatening the knight right away and the knight has to move, but also d6 check is going to attack the rook. So this is a big threat in the position. And now knight e5, but d6 check. The one thing I want to point out about this particular situation, and I had to calculate d6 check because I recognize that when you have a discovered attack and the piece doing the checking, so in this case the bishop on c4, you have to watch out for pieces capturing that one. And in this case, a rook can take and the knight could take as well, and actually it's backed up by a second rook. So I had to make sure that this could actually work out. And I was most scared of rook takes c4, but actually knight takes c4 was played, and this is the best move. But now I can take on c7. So now I'm up a rook and 2 pawns. And black does take my knight. But from here, there's a forced win. So if you'd like, why don't you pause your video and see if you can see the win, and then I'll show it to you. Okay, and maybe you saw the tempo move, rook f to d1. So this attacks the knight, very natural move, right? Um, it looks like black's winning a pawn and also attacking the rook, but we have the powerful move, rook d8, and this just wins. Because this rook is just completely stranded now. The rook cannot stay on the first rank, but it can't take the pawn because it's defended by this rook. And the knight is defending the rook, yes, but if they take, we simply take here, and soon we're going to move out of the way, and we're going to make a queen. So it was actually in, let me see, it was actually in this position that this position that my opponent resigned. So I hope you enjoyed this game. I know it was a little different than the ones I normally show, but I really was liking the strange Baltic defense with Queen B3 and crazy sharp tactics in the opening, and then I thought it was a nice game to show how to, or what you think at least, when you're converting a win. Um, so if any stronger players have any advice for me, I would love to hear it. Because I definitely want to continue to improve. And if you watch this video, I just want to thank you, and I'll see you next time.